नमस्ते सबैजना, म भुवन कोचमीको तर्फबाट फेरि अर्को एउटा सेसन लिएर आएको छु, जेनजीको सेसन लिएर आएको छु। आज चाहिँ अलिकति वान म्यान सो हुन्छ, अरू बेलाको जस्तो सपोर्ट आज त्यति छैन, तर आई थिङ्क आई क्यान ह्यान्डल दिस। गजबको टिम छ मेरो, जहिले पनि हेल्प गरेर हुन्छ, तर मेबी समटाइम्स इट्स बेटर टु बी अ लिटल इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट अथवा लेस डिपेन्डेन्ट भनौँ न on my team members. आज हाम्रो गेस्ट चाहिँ एस्थर ढकालजी हुनुहुन्छ, राइट? सिज उहाँको इन्ट्रोडक्सन चाहिँ मैले आई विल डु माई बेस्ट टु होइन राम्रो इन्ट्रोडक्सन दिनलाई। सो फ्रेसमन इन युनिभर्सिटी एन्ड अप्टिमिस्टिक पर्सन होइन, who likes to look at life through positive perspectives भन्नुभएको छ। अनि सी इज अ कन्फिडेन्ट वुमन, अस्पायरिङ ऱ्यापर, अनि टिकटक चाहिँ उहाँले इन्टरटेनमेन्टको सोर्सको रूपमा युज गर्नुहुन्छ। Right, that's the introduction from my side. तर मेरो इन्ट्रोडक्सनले कतिको जस्टिफाई गरेको छ उहाँको रियल लाइफ पर्सनालिटीलाई, आई डोन्ट नो। तर why don't we just invite her on the screen and then find out. Hi. Esther.
Hello.
So तपाईलाई मैले I can just call you Esther, is that okay? तपाईको नामको पछाडी जी चाहिँ अलिकति कता कता नमिले जस्तो
लाग्यो। Oh, that's my middle name.
Okay. All right. So how are you?
I'm doing good. I just finished my exams, like right before this interview.
Okay. Oh wow. Wow. Exams.
Yes.
Tapaiको exam चाहिँ what was it about, and how did it go?
It went okay. It was orals over Zoom. It was like 1.5 hours. It was about U.S. history, so pretty good.
All right. So what do you think? Oral exams versus normal traditional exams. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer oral. Saves a lot of time on the writing and paper.
True. Environment को लागि पनि राम्रो हो हैन। मैले तपाईको चाहिँ एउटा इन्ट्रोडक्सन दिएको थिएँ। I don't know, it's मैले चाहिँ कसैलाई पनि इन्ट्रोड्युस गर्नलाई one of my challenging part is for some reason introduction र ending के there's always an awkward beginning and an awkward end. So if you were introducing yourself, I know, how would you introduce yourself?
Formally, I'd introduce myself as Esther Dhakal. I'm 20 years old. I'm in university. That's it. Nothing much. Nothing more than that.
Informally?
Informally, I'm, I don't know, a daughter, a sister, to 5 siblings, and a student. Informally.
Okay, awesome. So you चाहिँ सबै कुरा चाहिँ भनेको these are your labels भनौँ न हैन, external labelsहरु, your daughter, sibling, यताउता भनेको, right? So if you put all of these labels aside, what is left? Who is Esther?
If you remove all the labels, I'm a lazy person.
Oh, okay, a lazy person. Okay.
In one definition.
Okay, how do you know you're lazy?
I procrastinate a lot. That's how I know.
Okay, you procrastinate a lot. Awesome. Procrastination चाहिँ it's not just भनौँ न त्यति rare problem पनि हैन, it's you know it's a very usual issues. हामी सबैजना we're in some ways suffering with that, हैन? Procrastination, what does it actually do for you in positive sense?
Positive. Well, for me, I procrastinate a lot because there's the sense of rush that I get last minute kaam garne bela, and I feel like I do better when that rush comes.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It might be different for other people.
Absolutely, it would be different for everyone. Absolutely. There's a strategy behind it this way, you know. So you're getting something out of
Yeah.
it because you're so nice, awesome. Awesome. Ani, you also said that you're an optimistic person, you know. So, optimism, what does that mean for you?
I think it means to just look at whatever's in front of you, like let go of everything that bothers you and just look forward to I don't know, just hoping for the better, I guess.
Okay. So, any hoping for the better is optimism. Are there any criterias involved in it at all when you talk about optimism?
I mean, everyone has their own criteria for optimism, right? But for me, I just as simple as possible, just hope for something better. To be optimistic
Okay.
about something.
Okay. Awesome. So, how are you with who you are at the moment? At the moment in life?
At the moment, how am I with who I am? Well, oh, comparatively, I think okay-ish.
Okay. All right.
Okay-ish, yeah. I mean, could
Um,
be doing better. Could be doing better.
Okay, could be doing better, like with everyone else.
Yeah.
यो क्वेसन अलिकति रिफ्रेज गर्छु नि त है त. What are some of the things that are working in your life at the moment?
Some of the things that are working. My family's doing fine. I mean, no one's got COVID yet, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, academics going well,
Okay.
so that's doing really good.
Okay, beautiful. मैले तपाईँलाई चाहिँ भनौँ न, if I had to ask you, भनौँ न, some of the skill sets that you have that you value the most. Some भन्नु भन्दा पनि 3 skill sets that you value the most about yourself.
3 skill sets. I think first has to be frank, like honesty, and second would be I don't know, confident. I like to call myself confident sometimes, not all the time. And third would be I think just really friendly.
Okay, really friendly. Nice. Okay, so these are the skill sets that you value the most about yourself,
Yes.
right? You've also mentioned Ki you've spent a bit of time in Nepal and also a bit of time in Philippines and tell us a little bit about your school life and त्यसपछि transition into a new culture. What has that been like for you?
Transition wasn't, I mean, it wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. I grew up in Nepal almost my whole life until grade 10. I graduated in Nepal and then I moved to the Philippines for senior high school and then I think the biggest struggle I had in transitioning in the Philippines was the language. I struggled with the language. Everyone spoke in Filipino where I studied, and I was just there listening to everyone. But eventually, I think I learned the language. It transitioned.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the challenge was obviously you said the language, right?
Yes.
So what has that challenge given you? How has that affected you as a person in a positive way?
I think that challenge, I'm still struggling with learning the Filipino language. I'm pretty sure most of my family and most of my friends know about this. But I guess the positive um, change that I had was I was able to really learn my mother's culture by like even just like few words through the language. I was able to like I don't know somehow connect to my mom's culture even more, and I think that really made me feel nice.
Okay, that made you feel really nice. Anya, what about your
Yes.
school life? What was that like?
School life, well, first month in Nepal, like I love my friends. We very friendly, everyone's very nice. But when I moved to Philippines, first month, I think I barely spoke to anyone.
Okay.
I just studied all the time. I got really good grades that first month. And after a while, I got bored. That's when I started socializing more. And then I made more friends eventually.
Okay. You made more friends eventually. Um, you've said that कुनै टाइममा चाहिँ you were very quiet, you were studying a lot, and then you got
Yes.
bored and then transitioned into someone very social, you started making more friends. Um, हामी चाहिँ भनौँ न lot of us put ourselves in a box म क्वाइट छु म खासै सोसियलाइज गर्न सक्दिनँ ऊ जस्तो फ्रेन्डली छुइनँ भनेर बक्समा राखिरहेको हुन्छ नि सो वी स्पेन्ड अ नम्बर अफ इयर्स बिङ क्वाइट एन्ड इन्ट्रोभर्ट भनौँ नट सोसियलाइजिङ द्याट बिकम्स आवर पर्सनालिटी एन्ड देन इट बिकम्स रियली हार्ड टु गो आउट एन्ड सोसियलाइज आफ्टर अ वाइल सो there's always a hesitation when you've been quiet for so long. How do you overcome that hesitation to go and meet people when you start talking to people? What would your suggestions be in that situation?
In that situation, I think like the main reason I did not like I was quiet and did not speak at all was because I was scared I would say something wrong and like my friends would judge me for saying
Yeah.
something wrong. Or like even if it was not something wrong, I was just scared of being judged like for the first month. And after I let go of the fear of being judged, I think that's when you can really come out of the box and like socialize more and get to know people more. Because if you don't cross that barrier yourself, I don't think anyone else can do it for you unless someone's really friendly and approaches you constantly and gets you to talk to them. That's a different case. But getting rid of the fear of being judged, I think, is like the main thing you have to get rid of.
Okay. Getting rid of the fear of being judged. What's the strategy that you employ, right? So I completely agree with you. कोहीसँग बोल्न जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ maybe something stupid will come out of your mouth अथवा everyone will laugh at me. त्यो सबै दिमागमा खेलिरहेको हुन्छ नि त, right? So just like my teacher says, overthinking, right? So what's your strategy? What's your strategy of dealing with that kind of thought? Okay? If thought that generates fear.
Thought that generates fear. I usually talk to myself in my head, rehearse
Mhm.
it. If I'm really, really, really nervous, and because at that point I was like, I need to, somehow socialize, make new friends, like not just stay silent in the classroom. So I rehearsed it a couple of times. I mean, if you want, some people like rehearsing in front of the mirror. That's okay. If
Yeah.
you like rehearse it a bit, I think it helps some way
Okay.
or another.
Okay. Rehearse it. And some people like it to do it in front of the mirror, and that's fine as well. You've also said that you talk to yourself, right?
Best therapy out there.
Okay. Your best therapy out there. Um, Okay, I'll get back to it later. Your part पनि it's very interesting. Coaching world मा चाहिँ there's a lot of self coaching going on हैन हामी आफूले आफूलाई पनि कोच गरेर हुन्छ नि त whenever we're talking to ourselves we're guiding ourselves हैन we're telling us to be कहिलेकाहीँ to not be afraid and this is not a big deal, you've done this before, and these are the coaching things that's happening inside our in our mind. Also, let's talk about the lockdown period. Okay, how did that? How did you deal with this? How did it treat you?
Lockdown. Initially, like in the beginning of lockdown, I wasn't in Nepal. I was in the Philippines. I was supposed to be graduating with my sister, but we didn't get to have a graduation, and instead we were just locked in our house for I don't know, like 6 or 7 months with me and my sisters and my mom. And the whole time I was in Philippines, I just stayed home and did not go out ever.
Okay, all right, and Yeah, how was it? Did you enjoy it? Did you struggle in the beginning, or how was the whole experience?
Initially, I enjoyed. I loved lockdown. I liked eating and sleeping whenever I wanted. Like no work because I just finished grade 12, so I didn't have to do any work. I love just watching, binging Netflix shows all day, making TikToks. That was
Okay.
that was the life I loved in the beginning of lockdown before school started.
And what happened towards the end? And
Towards the end, school started and it wasn't in real life. It's online, and I struggle with online classes.
okay,
So I think
right,
that's what happened. School happened.
true, true. Okay, struggled with online classes, so that was your biggest struggle. So apart from that, being inside, being indoors, being by yourself or with your sisters, that wasn't
With my
challenging,
sister.
at all, right?
I mean, I initially it was really boring, but eventually me and my sisters just learned to play with each other. And I don't know, online games and like talk to my friends online all the time. That helped a lot too.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and what are some of your biggest interests in life at the moment, apart from okay, I shouldn't mention that. What are some of your biggest interests?
Biggest interest at the moment, I think law, like anything to do with law.
Okay, law.
More specifically, I think criminal law. Yes.
Okay, criminal law. Okay, that's what you're studying at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
okay, no. So why the interest? Why is criminal law so interesting for you at the moment?
I think it's just because I've been watching a lot of Netflix shows and I just like I find it really interesting how a criminal's mind works, I guess, and how like the law can I don't know, just like the connection between criminals, the justice system.
Okay, nice, nice. So what are you studying? What are you planning to study?
I'm currently studying developmental studies.
Okay,
So basically how society developed and how it can be more developed.
okay. Okay, and how we can be more developed. You've also said that your interest is in criminal law somehow, but I think so. Development studies would also include some kind of psychology in it, right?
Yes, some sort of, yeah. More of
Yeah,
economics. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So are you at all planning to transition towards criminal law or studying law at all?
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, nice, nice. Okay, development development studies, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
why is that important to you?
I think it's really important to understand how like society transitioned. Like the only way we can move forward is by recognizing like the failures we made in the past, like our ancestors made in the past, or like the
Mhm.
success they've made and how to replicate it into making more success. I think that's really important. That's why I'm studying this, just to recognize the transition.
Okay. Okay, just to recognize the transition. You've also said to replicate success, and you've talked about failures as well, to learn from it. So do you think what we consider our successes are mostly replicated from what we see around us?
Our I think pretty much, yeah. Because normally, like the way we function is when we see someone or something that has been successful, we try to, even if we don't purposely do it, we like subconsciously replicate how things go in order to reach the same level of success.
Okay. Yeah,
Somewhere around that.
even though, yeah. Okay. My next question is friendship. What role does friendship play in your life?
I think it plays a very vital role in my life. I don't know what I would be doing without my friends.
Okay. म यसलाई अर्को पनि स्टाइलमा सोध्छु है त. So what kind of people would you invite in a circle of friends?
I think people who I trust, really. It's difficult to find people you can trust.
Okay, people you can trust. That's one. What else?
People you connect with, like you just have the vibe, you know?
Yeah. Okay. People you connect with. Okay, so people you can trust, people you connect with. Those kind of people would be invited to your inner circle, right?
Yeah, like also people you don't feel uncomfortable with.
Okay. You need so when there's connection, there's also comfort. So you also need to feel very comfortable being around that person, right? Awesome. So if you look back now, to your teenage life and then younger, what are some of the mistakes you think you've made that you can, obviously say publicly? What are some of the mistakes you made that you like to learn from?
I think first would be do not trust people so easily. And second is don't show your most vulnerable sides to everyone. Like the most vulnerable side of yourself should be, saved or just shown to people you really trust. Because people will take advantage of you. So you need to be very careful of who you trust.
Okay, you need to be very careful of who you trust. So, तपाईले भन्नुभएको चाहिँ, so you have this inner circle, जो चाहिँ where you can trust people, you can connect with them, and you're comfortable with them. You can be vulnerable with them, but be careful, होइन? Just don't be with.
Elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How do you deal with people who pull you back?
People who pull me, haters. Everyone has their own coping mechanism. Like some people like to, I don't know, cry. Some people like to rant about it. I just laugh it off.
Okay.
I don't know how, but I always just laugh it off. I mean, I remember learning in school, like we had like a yoga class, and our yoga teacher was like, "Oh, laughing therapy," and he would force us to laugh all the time. I mean, not all the time, for like 5 minutes straight. And I thought it was the most stupid thing, but now I think it actually helps.
Okay, I should try that. त्यो चाहिँ मैले अहिलेसम्म ट्राई गरेको छैन, तर that would be pretty hard to try, but not मेरो सायद it's not who I am, but I'm willing to give it a try. So next time this happens to me, I'll yeah, why not? Why not try it, right? Yeah, I'll just start laughing my head off and see where that takes me. Maybe it'll be just fine. Right. What are some of the things, okay, what are 3 things, if you had, would make you a better person or a happier person?
3 things. Happier, like if I had it, or like just in general.
If you had it, whether it could be knowledge or a car, so it's whatever you'd want. 3 things.
I can't really think I can't really think of 3 things I'd want,
That
as
means
a
you have
trait. I mean, knowledge, but
knowledge. Okay,
knowledge about
awesome.
what? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of 3 things that I would want right now.
Fine. Okay, fine. We can come back to this later if we'd want to. Let's see. Okay, what are some of your strongest self beliefs?
Strongest self-beliefs. Just be kind.
Okay.
I think I'd really dwell on that. Just be kind.
Okay. Awesome. All right. All right. Be kind. Obviously, yeah. Kindness solves a lot of things, I think, in this world. If we were
Yeah.
able to be kind, most of the problems, I think, would just disappear if we were able to be kind. So, yeah, awesome. Very powerful belief. The other thing I would like to ask you is who are some of the people in your life at the moment who's pulling you up?
Pulling me up on my family, definitely. My
Yeah.
friends, just family and friends.
Okay.
And my
Family.
supporters on TikTok.
Okay, on TikTok. Your supporters on TikTok. How are you actually doing on TikTok? I'm not really a TikTok person, but yeah. How are you doing on TikTok, and what does it actually do for you?
I just have fun on TikTok. I make videos with my dad, or I sing sometimes,
Awesome.
and or I dance sometimes. Just depending on the mood. I sometimes just make a time lapse of myself eating.
Okay.
It
Wow.
depends on the day.
Nice. Nice. So you also sing on TikTok?
Yes, occasionally.
Occasionally. And
Yes, I translate songs for fun.
you translate songs from which language to which language, or it doesn't really?
Uh, I I translate either from English to Nepali
Wow.
or
Awesome.
English to Filipino.
Nice.
But the translation sucks. The effort's what matters. The effort is what matters.
Okay. And it would be yeah, and you wouldn't want to sing any of those songs right now, right?
Um, I mean, people have already heard it, so it's fine.
Okay. Um, all right. Okay. We'll move on. We'll move on from that. Okay. Who are some of the people that you'd want to learn from who are not around you at the moment, or yeah, who would you want to learn
I'd
from?
want to learn from.
Yeah.
I think I'd want to go back to the past and maybe learn from like historical figures,
Okay.
because I feel like whatever they wanted to say has been lost in like translation, or like through time it has been whatever they wanted to say has changed. So I want to get like the original whatever they wanted to say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you'd like to, yeah, it's like a lot of things must have happened, like Chinese whispers, right? So what they wanted to say.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What scares you about life?
What scares me about life is, I think, the unknown.
Okay, the unknown. Ani त्यसमा केही
Yes.
elaboration छ or you'd like to leave it at that?
Death, I guess, is
That
the unknown. Yes.
okay, very brave of you. A lot of people would not actually admit that they're afraid of death. Um, yeah, nice. Um, okay. What are some of the things that you do to re-energize or rejuvenate yourself?
Rejuvenate. I love eating.
Okay, eating.
Physically, I just love eating. Yeah. But mentally, when I need, like, when I'm stressed and I've had a bad day, I just sleep or just watch, like, my favorite show all day without being disturbed.
Okay, what's my favorite show all day without being disturbed? Yeah, that definitely sounds very relaxing.
That
What are some of
sounds
your absolutely? What are three of your proudest moments?
three. One is, I think, 2015. I don't remember the dates exactly, but 2015. I think it was like, I'm not sure, 2015, 2017, 2018 ish. There was a flood in the Terai region, I think. Somewhere around those years. It's very blurry for me. But I went to a workshop in Korea and I was able to, like, raise funds for the people suffering from the flood. And as soon as I got back, I started working on the initiative. I gathered people, I made phone calls, and went to the Thai region and, like, gave them not just food, but like education materials, like notebooks and pen, whatever that could help. I think that's one of my proudest moments. One, that, and
Awesome.
second, I think, was 2019, the year before the pandemic. I went to Palau with my parents. I volunteered for a month. I skipped school for that. And I was able to work with Palau high school students. And I
Nice.
taught them how to do public speaking. And it just made me feel really proud at that moment because I was like 18 and I was teaching someone my age. So it made me
Awesome.
feel like, it gave me like a, like a teenage high school student proud moment.
Awesome.
And third is, I think, just every debate, I think, debate competition. I remember this one award I got in grade 10 before I left school. It was in, I don't know, this huge stadium type of place. And my dad actually gave me my award on stage. And when my dad handed it over to me, this good feeling inside. Those are my top three.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, your dad handing you the thing was, yeah, definitely would be very emotional indeed, right? Um, तपाईँलाई अब अलिअलि काठमाडौँको स्कुलिङ सिस्टम पनि यु नो लिटल बिट अबाउट इट होइन
Yes.
सो लेट्स जस्ट से कि भनौँ न आई 5-10 years from now you're in Nepal and you become like the education minister of Nepal. What are some of the things you would change immediately? Not some 5-year plan, but something you've seen. You're saying Nepalमा काम गरिरहेकै छैन. This is stupid. यो स्कुलमा हुँदैन. I would like to change this immediately, starting now. What are some of the things you do?
There's a lot. I remember I've had this conversation before with someone, but I can't remember what I said. If I could change anything, school aroma, I think first would be the rule that tells you not to dye your hair and that you have to cut your nails all the time. I think those rules are actually stupid because it has been proven, like, if you color your hair doesn't mean you get distracted from studying. I think dress codes and just those codes in general is pretty stupid. I think students, even though they have, like, they wear uniforms as a form of, uniform लगाउनु पर्छ, but then just giving them the freedom of styling their own hair, I think, gives them a sense of individuality in school, which I think students really require in a place where
True.
they feel like they're locked up. And I think more breaks. I feel like some schools, like, really have, like, classes continuously.
Okay.
I think, like, for students just mental and physical health. They need to take a break for a while. More excursions in general, because I think it's most of the schools really just focus on whiteboard learning, classroom learning. I think they just need more exposure going outside. More
Okay.
practicality more than theory.
Okay, more on practicality than theory. Okay,
Yeah.
you've talked about excursions and being outdoors and theory भन्दा you're focusing on practicality भनिरहनु भएको छ. So why is that important for anyone?
I think anyone who would be like kept in a classroom for, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours a day in front of a book would feel like that. Because as a student, I definitely felt like that. I felt like I need to get out at some point. So like if you make them feel not so locked up and caged up, I think that would like benefit the students' mental health even more.
Okay, that would benefit their mental health even more. Beautiful. Okay, what are some of the what are some of the things that are stopping you from being your best?
As I said, my laziness in the beginning. It all comes back to being lazy.
Okay, it all comes back to being lazy, procrastination. तपाईँले अघि भने जस्तै. Okay, तर त्यसमा positive intentions because you like the rush of actually doing it,
Yes.
doing last moment भनेर. So it's not all negative, हैन. यसले तपाईलाई केही न केही
Yes.
positive दिइराख्छ, right? So if you could travel back in time, भनौँ न 5 years back, हैन, 5 वर्ष पछाडि गएर चाहिँ if you could give life advice to Esther 5 years younger, what would your advice be?
I think my advice would be to just be yourself and just do you. I think that's what I would say. Just go for what, like, don't think about what other people say, just go for it.
Okay, don't think about what other people say, just go for it. कोही मान्छे चाहिँ भनौँ न intellectually they know कि okay, you shouldn't worry about what other people say, हैन, तर struggle गरेर हुन्छ नि त, हैन. No matter how much you know, it's really hard not to care about what other people think. त्यस्तो मान्छेलाई चाहिँ how would you advise dealing with that kind of के भन्ने attachment भनौँ न, even if they know अरूले भनेको कुरा चाहिँ खासै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छैन भन्ने कुरा, they know intellectually but they cannot let go. What would your advice be to that person?
I think, I don't know, meditation. I don't know. But I think I would say to just take a step back and internalize about what, if you want to process whatever the other person says and nitpick and find out it's not true, then be that. Or just, if you want to completely ignore it, leave it behind, that's also fine. But I don't really, because for myself, when something that someone says really bothers me, the best way for me to really move on from it is confront the person.
Okay.
So if that works for you, do that.
Okay. So something that works for you is to really confront that person, right?
Yeah, just confront.
So when you confront that person, what are you actually getting out of this?
I think when you confront the person, you feel more control over yourself, because in some sense you get the actual answers of what like, why did you say this? Did you have bad intentions? Or is this actually what you feel about me? You get to like process it, and when you start processing this information, I think that's when you get finally like move on from
Okay.
like what they said.
Okay, move on from what they said. When you, okay, finally you can move on from what they've said. Okay, this is भनौँ न अघि तपाईँले भन्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो कि death is also one of the things that you kind of you find scary, होइन? त्यो हुँदा पनि this question becomes a little tricky. So let's say that you kind of you live to be 130 years old, होइन? Because I don't want you to imagine that तपाईँको लाइफ स्प्यान कुनै पनि हिसाबले छोटो थियो भनेर. So at the age of 130 you pass away, होइन? अनि at your funeral there are people gathered, होइन? In your funeral, and they're talking about you, how good you were and what you've done in life. So at that point, what would you want people to remember you for?
A lot of things, oh my God. But I think by that time, I want, like, what I want to achieve, I think, is not something like really great. I just want them to remember me as someone who was kind and nice. I mean, 2 simple words, but it really matters.
Okay. 2 simple words, but they really matter, and absolutely they do. तपाईँको kindness चाहिँ, I think तपाईँको values को listमा it's pretty high up, होइन? So kindness is something that you think is very important. So you've also mentioned nice. Nice is a word that can have different meanings. So what does nice mean for you?
Nice, I think, just means approachable.
Okay.
Just friendly, or like just not bad.
Okay. Approachable, friendly, not bad. Okay, someone who's not rude. Okay. I think I know what you mean, right? Do you know of someone who is getting the results that you want, who is doing things that you want, and what is she or he doing differently than you?
Getting something I want. Not really sure.
Okay.
Who there is? I mean, probably there is, but probably haven't met them yet or don't know about them.
All right. हुनसक्छ भेट्दै नभेटा पनि हुनसक्छ. Right. So what would you do if you were like invisible for a week? What would you spend that week on?
How if I was invisible? Wow. Okay. First, I don't know. I'd probably go. Cause I mean, like, if you're invisible, people can't really catch you, right?
No,
so I
they can't.
just go everywhere that has gates. Or like things that are locked up. I just want to go inside and check it out. I don't know, spy on some people.
Okay.
I don't know what you would do if you're invisible for a week.
Okay.
I can spy.
Okay, spy on some people. मैले त्यो चाहिँ expect गरिरहेको थिएन, तर that sounds like fun too. Why not? If you're invisible,
I mean, like,
sorry.
No, that's fine.
हामी जे भने पनि धेरैजनाले चाहिँ त्यो गर्थ्यौँ होला. If we were invisible, we would be spying on people, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you spend most of your money on?
Online shopping.
Online shopping, okay.
At the moment, yeah, online shopping.
Okay, at the moment, online shopping. सायद हामीले यो सेसनमा चाहिँ फर्स्ट गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ जसले चाहिँ फुड बाहेक अरू केही भन्नुभयो कि. Everyone just says food. So you're the first one. Online shopping, unless you're shopping food online.
No. I mean, like, sometimes, but not mostly food.
Okay, sometimes. Okay. Ani, how do you deal with failures?
Failures. I move on from them. Not really quickly, but I really, like, once I fail something that I was determined to win, I prepare, like I take a step back, internalize what just happened, prepare 10 times better, and then go back.
Okay, prepare 10 times better and then go back. Um, okay, तपाईँ डेभलपमेन्ट स्टडिजमा पनि हुनुहुन्छ अनि सो यु अभियसली तपाईँले भन्नुभयो नि त वान अफ यर प्राउडेस्ट मोमेन्ट्स इज अल्सो वान यु आर भलन्टियरिङ होइन लेट्स से कि यु आर भलन्टियरिङ इन वान अफ द रिमोट स्कुल्स अफ नेपाल होइन त्यहाँ चाहिँ स्कुलमा चाहिँ काम भलन्टियर गरिरहनु भएको थियो अनि भेरी स्मल किड कम्स टु यु लिटल गर्ल अनि उसले चाहिँ के भन्छ भने दिदी मैले चाहिँ क्लासको अगाडि एउटा प्रेजेन्टेसन दिइरहेको थिएँ अनि प्रेजेन्टेसन दिँदा दिँदै मलाई चाहिँ एकदमै नर्भसनेस फिल भयो आई स्टार्टेड शेकिङ अनि आई जस्ट फ्रोज मेरो मुखबाट वर्ड्सहरू निक्लिरहेको थिएन अनि एभ्री वान जस्ट लाफ्ड एट मी अब म चाहिँ कहिले पनि प्रेजेन्टेसन दिन्न यस्तो मलाई चाहिँ एकदमै बेइज्जत भयो आई विल नेभर डु दिस again, I'll never ever do this again. So what would you tell her?
That's actually happened to me before, but I would I would tell her to, first of all, because I know it took time for me. It took me 1 year to get back on stage, but I would just tell her to like take her time and like just internalize. Really, that's all you can do. When you mess up that bad, like I know how it feels. You feel humiliated. You feel like you've embarrassed yourself, and you feel like everyone's judging you at that moment. So the best thing you can do is like take a step back and just internalize. And in order to, I mean, like, because your biggest fear is people who are judging you, right? In order for you to come back stronger is if you practice. So that's what I did. I practiced in front of a mirror. If it's a presentation, practice it like as many times as you want in order to make sure you don't fail. And if you have like stage fear, you practice in front of, I don't know, just get a picture on Google of an audience. That's what I did. Pretend like you're talking to them. Pretend like they're asking you questions, answer back to them, and you just visualize the whole setup. And when you go back, I think you'll be able to, even if you won't do exactly what you rehearsed, to some point you'll be able to be more out there.
Okay, to some point you'll be able to be more out there. So you had similar situation and you were public speaking, but you were out for like 1 year. You took time to get back.
Yes,
on stage.
I took time.
Wow, that's truly inspiring. A lot of people would just give up, I know. But that's really, very inspiring story to hear. So what you've said is take a step back, internalize everything. So what does internalize everything? So what does that mean?
What I don't know how other people do it, but what I like to do is, this happened to me before in an MUN. It was a 3-day event. Basically, you had to speak up. I did not speak at all. Went home, cried to my dad. I was like, I did really bad. I'm never doing this ever again. And my dad was like, it's okay. Try again next time. And as I was just in my room, I was like bawling my eyes out. I like took a step back and just visualized what happened throughout the 3 days. And I was the MUN, you're supposed to be talking, right? I did not talk at all. So I asked myself why I did not talk every opportunity that I had. Like I just went through it step by step and see what I did wrong, which was I did not speak up. Because I spoke up once, embarrassed myself, so decided to never do it again. And I asked myself what I did wrong, what I could do differently. And when I start asking myself these questions and finding the answers of these, that's when I can like really internalize and just process the whole situation and then move on from it.
Okay, and then move on. Beautiful story. Khas bhanne चाहिँ, yeah, it's truly inspiring. Yeah, I think all of us go through failures like these, होइन अनि धेरैजना चाहिँ we get stuck. त्यो record stuck भयो so we get stuck अनि really nice to hear a story of people overcoming this. This is quite hard. And thank you so much for this technique as well. It makes a lot of sense. And this is something that I'm going to use as well. This is something that we all can use. So thank you for that. And if you look back at that moment, what would you see? What do you actually see? How would you reflect on that moment?
How would I reflect on it?
Yeah, is it as
Like,
have you like has your perspective changed on um, how that situation was? Malib?
okay, I get it. I think like now that I think about it, like now that I've moved on from the whole fear of what had happened before, I think like the only thing that's left in my mind is like, why was I so scared?
Okay.
I think that's the only thing that changed because at that moment I was just always scared.
Okay. So now you just ask yourself, why was I so scared?
Like, why? Yeah, why? Like, it
Okay.
wasn't that hard to begin with. So why?
Okay. All right. So would that actually give you some perspective into what you would be doing in the future? Like if you were doing something as important in the future, would that moment in the past actually help you in some way?
Yes, I think it works as some kind of like, I don't know, like a push that reminds me
Okay.
where I've been before. It like reminds me that I've already reached bottom. I
Yeah.
reached rock bottom and I know how it feels and I don't want to feel that way again. So it works as like a driving force that makes me want to do better, pushes me to do better.
Okay. Pushes you to do better. Um, Okay, Esther, we all have moments in life where we feel like we're not enough, right? We don't know if we are
Yes.
capable of doing something, like with public speaking or whatever. And we all go through this, but our coping mechanisms are different, right? Some people take hours to get through this. Some people take days, some people take weeks, some people take even years to get out of this spiral of I'm not good enough or whatever. What is your technique of getting out of situations where you feel maybe you're not enough?
Um, it works differently for everyone again.
Right.
But what I like to do is I think just not compare myself to someone else. Because when I remove myself from the pedestal of being compared to someone else, I think I just look at myself for myself and not, like saying, oh, I should do better than this person. Oh, this is not good enough because this person's doing better. Like just removing the whole comparison, I think helps a lot if you don't compare yourself to someone in simple words.
Okay. 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 It really helps if you don't compare yourself to anyone. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. तपाईँले कोही अरूसँग कम्पेयर नै गर्नु भएन भने त there's no good or bad, you only become
Yeah.
not good enough if you're comparing yourself to someone else. Okay, that makes a lot of yeah. Um, what would you do more of if you had more money?
If I had more money, um, I mean, donations work well. I've been donating for a while. Or like, I don't know, I'll just start more initiatives that I feel like even though I donate into some orgs or something, I'm like hesitant if it actually reaches the people that it needs to. So if I had more money, I probably like take the initiative myself and do a few projects that I would head instead of someone else because I don't think I would trust someone else more than I would myself.
Okay, do a few more projects, right? Okay, nice. So if you had more money, you'd be more charitable.
Yeah.
What do you think about the importance of planning your life, having a goal, having a vision? What are your thoughts on that?
I think planning is very important because, like, I mean, without planning what you're gonna do in the future, you don't really know where you want to go, and it creates this blur, and you're just gonna be stuck, like stagnant. You wouldn't know where to go. But I think like if you like at least plan some parts of it ahead, you at least have some kind of goal, some kind of way, like a path to go towards. And that's very important. Planning.
Okay, very important planning. So, what are some of the ways you plan your own goals or your personal growth,
Yeah.
or what are some techniques you use?
I like being very organized. Sometimes at least, or like every once a month, once a week, I always check back. I create lists. Like if it's for homework, I create lists for my homework, or if it's like just general things that I wish to accomplish. I normally create a to-do list every 6 months. I mean, of life in general, excluding all the schoolwork, and I check on it every 6 months and see if I've achieved what I want on that list. I put at least like 3 to 4 things and check on it. And if I don't complete it, I put another deadline because it's in order to reach your goal, it's very important to set a deadline because that way you have something to work towards. That's the first step of planning.
Okay, that's the first step of planning. Deadline चाहिँ एकदमै important छ. So you check in every once in a while to make sure that you're on the right path,
Yes.
होइन? And that's very important. Okay, so what are some of your values that you will not compromise on?
Some values I would not compromise on. Um, I think it would be equality.
Okay,
Just
and equality
gender
means
equality.
gender equality. Okay.
Yes.
So what has your experience been in terms of gender equality so far?
I mean, I don't think I've had any like massive experience like any of the other people who suffered from like a lot of aggression towards them or discrimination towards them. But I think just like little things in society, like just microaggressions of people when they're like, oh, chori bhaera yesto garnu hudaina, or like they're like, oh, keti bhaera yesto garnu hudaina, in Nepal's context. I think people don't understand that's also a way of gender discrimination. Even if they're just side comments, like small side comments, they still affect how people think. And I think like that's what bothers me the most.
Okay, that's what
Is that
bothers you the
even if
most.
they, yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
no,
Esther.
it's okay.
You said even if.
I mean, even if they like behave like they're progressive in nature, right? They're like, oh, we're all for gender. Oh, sorry, we're all for gender equality. We treat all men and women nice, but somehow they still end up making these like small side comments, right? So that
Mhm.
just leads it back to like their mentality actually hasn't changed.
Yeah, the mentality hasn't actually changed, and obviously, right? So it takes maybe a little bit more of an effort because they've been,
Yes.
you know, in that box for a long, long time. So, what do you think are some of the things we can do as a society to reduce this inequality that you're talking about from our ends? Some of the things we could do.
From our ends, I think most of us, like I mean, like the youth at least, we've been doing our best, even if it's just by like posting something, some gender equality awareness things on your Instagram story, by resharing it, or like just those small things, what makes us us, like the Gen Z people, by just a few clicks away, sharing them on your story, or like making a video about it on TikTok, or like just anything with social media in general. I think people are already doing it. That's what we can do right now because we can't do much more than that. Just
Okay.
discourse.
Okay, we can't do much more than that. Do you think, even though slowly we're moving towards the right direction, or you think um, that's not the case?
It's very difficult
Okay,
to check on the progress.
okay,
So I would say like we were probably like 1/10 of the way there.
all right.
There's still a
Okay,
long way to go.
okay. There's still a long way to go. That means we as a society have, yeah, to keep doing what we need to do, right? Okay, nice. Apart from gender equality, what are some of the things that you think the older generations not doing that right in Nepal?
Our older generation's not doing it right.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know really. Like what they're not doing right. There's a lot,
Anything
but
that comes to your mind? Oh, I mean, I'm generalizing here. Of course,
mm,
not everyone's the same, but
yeah. Um, but I think just not really sure. I can't really like.
okay,
There's a lot of things they're not doing right, but I can't pinpoint it out.
okay. You can pinpoint it out. Fine. That's not a problem. So अहिले चाहिँ धेरै जसो अब नेपालमा एकदम युथ लिडरसिपको कुरा गरिरहेको हुन्छौँ होइन सो यङ जेनेरेसन निड्स टु टेक ओभर अनि दे निड टु टेक ओभर द लिडरसिप भनिरहेको हुन्छ सो what kind of I don't know how aware you are about Nepali politics, but politics नबुझे पनि you know the youth अथवा young people around you. What do you see promising about young people and their leadership capabilities?
I mean, from the judging the people around me, I think they would be more lovable by the public in general. I think they would be more understanding, more inclusive, and
Okay,
more aware. I think that's what the older generation is lacking right now, or just in general.
okay. More
More
lovable, more
liberal
understanding.
side, I think.
Sorry, what was that,
Just
Esther?
as a whole, just more liberal.
Okay, more liberal, more understanding, more lovable, more liberal. Okay. And you also said more inclusive. Inclusive, what does that mean for you?
Inclusive as in just everything in general, like not just always focusing on the the general public that's out there, but like more than the general public, like people who have been marginalized
Mhm.
for their rights and
Okay.
whatnots.
Okay. Yeah, people who've been marginalized, सबैलाई include गरेर लानु पर्यो. मैले चाहिँ भनौँ न भोलि चाहिँ एउटा कम्पनी खोलेँ अरे होइन अनि आई वान्ट टु हायर यङ पिपल जेनजी हायर गर्नु पर्यो भने what are some of the things that I need to keep in mind as an employer when I'm hiring young people like you? What would you want from a employer?
I think what the employer should keep in mind is that our slangs might be different. So although like we like informal settings a lot, so we just like we're straightforward and we have different slangs. So I mean that might come off as rude to the older generation, but they should just keep in mind that that's just how we function now
Okay.
and just not mind the language, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And other than that, like
Yeah. Other than that, sorry.
other than that, I think like if we're on our phones too much, it's not always because we're playing games, because that's what older people assume most of the time. It's probably something might be something related to work or like I don't know, we're like reading an article or something.
Okay. Yeah, language अनि फोनको कुरा आयो होइन अनि what about the work environment? What kind of work environment would actually attract young people like you?
I think a fun work environment because if you look at like most of the offices these days, right? Like most of the offices, they do have like a desk and a place to work. But I've seen like a lot of like interesting new offices. I don't know where it was, but like new companies have opened offices with like more fun environments. Like I don't know, they're like gaming stations in the office, like something like that. Like just something that helps to stimulate your brain. I think would really attract us.
Okay,
I mean, who
yeah,
wouldn't
something
want to
like
go to work and play at the same time? Yeah.
okay, something like that would attract younger generation. So what would be, let's say you started a job, right? What would really keep you in that job for number of years? Like let's say 5 years. What would be the motivating factor for you to keep at a job for 5 years?
I think it'd be my passion. If I was really passionate about my job, then I would keep it for that long.
Okay, passion would be the most important thing. Oh, what does money mean for you in terms of your career?
In terms of, I mean, money, like it's a bonus, I guess, for me. Like if I happen to earn a lot off of my job, it's a bonus. But I think if I don't find that passion in what I'm gonna do, I don't think the money would have much value to me by then.
Okay, also पनि passion the most important कुरा हो अनि money is just a bonus, right? So I've got
Yeah.
2 more questions. We're at the end of the session,
Okay.
Esther. Okay, but तपाईँ चाहिँ होइन बसन्तपुर को बाटोमा हिँड्दै हुनुहुन्छ अनि you meet this old lady के अनि she's like
Mhm.
the wisest person in the world. What are 3 things you would ask her? And you can only ask 3 questions, and she's the wisest person in the world.
Why is this person in the world? Hmm. Um, can she predict the future?
No, no. I've been asked this question so many times, but yeah, she's only
She
wise. She's not
cannot.
have that kind of powers.
Okay, I'd probably ask her how to end world hunger, how to achieve world peace. I know, 2, hunger, peace, and poverty. 3 problems, how to end 3 of them.
Okay. Okay, how to end world hunger, how to
I
achieve
mean,
world peace, get rid of poverty.
and just poverty. I mean, if she has the answers, might as well.
True, true. That's probably yeah, the best questions to ask anyway. That would probably make the whole world better, right? Okay, I said 2 questions, but I've got 1 bonus question because I just thought of one. And I'm
Okay.
asking that because, yeah, why not? Why not? So in the last 5 years, how have you grown as a person?
In the last 5 years, I think I've gotten more emotionally mature
Okay.
and mentally mature. I think those 2 things in 5 years.
Okay. Emotionally
And more
matured.
aware.
Okay, more aware, emotionally matured, mentally matured, and if you had to just list 1 more, what would that be?
Awareness, I think, about things in general. I've learned a lot more knowledgeable.
Okay, more knowledgeable. Awesome, awesome. Okay, my last question would be 1 thing you've learned about yourself from this interview.
I think it's that I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay, you have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, we'll stop stop at that. So I would just like to thank you so much, especially with the failure technique. I myself have learned quite a bit. That is something that I'm going to employ from now on. And there's another technique you've taught me, that is, yeah, to deal with people who pull you down is by just laughing at the situation. So I'll try that as well. Um, yeah, it's a different thing that people around me might think that I've kind of lost it, but that's the risk I have to take, I guess. But awesome learning session. Thank you so much for being here, and giving us this opportunity to learn from you. And if you think that I should have asked this one question which I missed, please go ahead and mention that question and answer that question as well, please, Esther.
Which question?
No, if you think that I should have asked a question which I
Oh,
didn't.
oh, not really. No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for having me. It was a long talk. It was enjoyable. Yeah, and before I go, I think shout out to Zoom homies. I think Avril did the same thing. I'm doing it too.
Okay, yeah, okay. I forgot the Beetle um, connection as well. So, uh, all right. Okay. Thank you so much. And I hope you had a good time. I obviously love the conversation. Slightly, yeah, on the longer side, but यसलाई चाहिँ हामी अलिअलि सानो पिस बनाएर पनि विल अपलोड इट अन युट्युब. तपाईँको ऱ्यापको बारेमा चाहिँ एस्पायरिङ ऱ्यापर भन्ने त्यतातिर खासै गइएन. तर अभियसली अनि इफ एनीवन वान्ट्स टु फलो हर, उहाँको इन्स्टाग्राम ह्यान्डल पनि हामीले डिस्क्रिप्सनमा राखिदिएको छ. अनि प्लिज, या, उहाँलाई फलो गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ. अनि त्यति भन्दै आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टु से थ्याङ्क यू भ्युअर्स. अनि यत्रो अनि उहाँको बहिनीहरू पनि, दिदीहरू पनि, सिस्टर्स भनेपछि है, सुरुमै आएर अलि अगाडिदेखि नै उहाँले कमेन्ट गर्न थालिरहनु भएको थियो. थ्याङ्क यू सो मच. अनि यति भन्दै आई जस्ट लाइक टु से गुड नाइट. अनि I'll see you guys some other time. अनि सब्सक्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु प्लिज. राइट, गुड नाइट.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you soon. Good night, guys.